Okay, welcome to Star Trek, Trek, our ongoing journey through the episodes of Star Trek and how we find them. And this week we have gone back to TNG Season 1. It is Hyde and Q. The nefarious John Delancey comes back once again to taunt Riker with the promises of eternal godhood. And never mind the planet full of dying people, we can just wave our hands over that anyway. Joined once again by Cranky, Janos, Frank, and Shy. Gentlemen, how do we... Well, actually, before I do, let's go through the credits for the episode. This has a really... Yes, Q Squared, nice. Good book. Peter David, good writer. Not all the books, but some of them. So, here's a fun fact for this episode. This episode was written by C.J. Holland. C.J. Holland doesn't actually exist, because C.J. Holland is actually Maurice Hurley, who wrote this episode. However...
C.J. Holland WRG.
Yeah, it's TP Games. Yeah, no, well, apparently Gene Roddenberry rewrote most of this episode so much that Maurice Hurley just said, just take my name off it, and put C.J. Holland on there instead. So we've got a little bit of Gene, he's back. But another fun fact about Maurice Hurley, which I really appreciate, actually. He also wrote the episode Best of Both Worlds. He that's wrong. He invented Q Who, which is the episode we first meet the Borg. So he invented the Borg. And he was also the voice of the Borg in that first episode as well. So, yeah.
That's very cool.
How did we find this episode? We started with some sort of reasonable pre-ratings. Like, we're all in the sixes. Do we think this pays off? Let's start with you, Shy. How did you find this episode after... When was the last time you watched this previous to this?
I mean, it's been a few years. I used to just constantly have Star Trek running in a loop when it was on Netflix. I've only recently reacquired a Paramount Plus subscription, so now I've just started having it playing in the background again. So it's been a few years since I've seen this episode. It's aged better than I thought it did. I'm not going to do my rating now, but it's definitely higher than a 6. You know, Delancey's still finding his brand of scene chewing with his Q performance here. It's a little broad in the beginning. It actually refines as the episode goes along. So I'm wondering if they shot it sequentially.
Sequentially.
Can't say. Thank you. Words hard. But yeah, I like a lot about what's going on here on the screen. Sorry, I just got a battery warning on my computer. Yeah, everyone's good. I always like stern Picard. Laughing is a little Did you lose me? Did I lose you guys?
No, you're there.
Okay. Hello. Yeah, Riker's fake laughing. I feel like I love Jonathan Frakes, but at times there are limits to his acting ability. And
I think that's up there with the Bashir screaming in "Move Along Home." I think that's
yeah. You know, there can be very likable scream people who there's just something that they can't do. Like I just watched a movie with Steve McQueen and he was fake laughing and it was just not. It was not good either, and Steve McQueen is of course a film legend. But yeah, overall it's a good morality tale. It's done simply. We get to Q rolls out. What did you count? Six, how many 7 outfits.
Oh, what was it? 6 outfits, I think.
Yeah,
we got to 6 with the religious monk outfit.
I thought that was 7.
And they even Picard even comments on it, like, "What's with the costumes, Q?"
Yeah,
pretty meta.
It's great. It's So
even has
so I like it.
Two varieties of Starfleet uniform, because he has the Starfleet Admiral uniform and then has the Commander's normal uniform as well. So that's.
I wonder if it's 3, because when he was in with Picard, he was in the Marshal of Q.
He was in the Marshal
of France. Yeah.
Which is wild. Like, costuming must just be like, right, we're here for another fitting. Mr. Delancey is like, okay, here we go. I'm here all day.
Yeah.
I'm ready for this.
Do you think Data was saying that it would be aesthetically unpleasing to Picard because they were grotesque monster creatures, or because they were in French uniforms?
Good question.
Anyway.
I don't know, because Picard never saw the monsters, because when he beamed back down... Oh, no, he did. No, because that's when they all got stabbed. I don't know.
Yeah, that was after, though. Nah.
You never commented on it. Janos, what are your opening thoughts after that?
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed the episode. It was deliciously and delightfully campy. Then you got a nice, 10-minute scene on the bridge where he goes around everyone and offers them the thing that they want the most, except of course Beverly. Beverly wants nothing. Neither does Tasha.
She awkwardly walks out and says like, no, don't read my mind. You won't like it. No one here. Everyone here's going to be embarrassed. A lot of whips.
Yeah, a couple of weird, problematic comments from Geordi all in one scene. A little strange. But yeah, I mean, it was fun. It was season 1 TNG is still finding its way, and so is John Delancey in his second appearance as Q. So yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed it. Nothing really bad that stands out to me. So it was fun. I liked it.
I mean, Overtide saying, Memory Alpha says that there are a mismatch of French and British uniforms with Spanish hats. So there's no real specific thing that it can point to there. Cranky, what do you think of this?
Yeah. I mean, same sort of things. Great little episode, loads of fun. As season 1 TNG goes, that's probably up there as one of the better episodes. There's, I mean, okay, the makeup and the costuming's a little bit, and the set as well. Set dressing was a little bit lackluster, but season 1 TNG, Hugh's great. He just brings that fun element. Like the childish.
Yeah, it's like I was saying in the watch along, like Delancey in this, like I don't ever feel like, oh, this is too much with him. He's got this weird way of projecting that level of camp and, like you said, like we said, the watch along, moustache twirling, but it doesn't ever feel like he's just like, oh no, this guy's going too far with it. Like you see in, I don't know, if you watch any of the CW stuff, like the old Flash and Arrow stuff, when they have like, Arcade or any of the proper like Mr. Mixes, whatever his name is, and they come on, they're just like, I am here, I am the quirky villain, oh, look at me. And it's like, you never get that from Q because he has that little serious edge to him that kind of goes through. It's very, John Delancey, you can probably speak to it better than I can, Shy, like, is like a master of his craft. Like, he is...
Well, because he adds the age into it, right? He adds in that it's this ancient being. And he's playful and funny, but at times he's very grave. And you need that groundedness.
It's not just the fact that he's a moustache twirling villain. He is an all-knowing, all-powerful, omnipotent, godlike being. Essentially, he can follow through with anything that he says he's going to do.
Frank.
It was Mr. Mixelplix. That's how I remember it.
Overtime saying mix, yes, spit leg.
Yes.
I assume that's right.
That was like from the Super Friends, it was Mixelplex, and then in the CW shows, it was like Mixelpitalix or something like that.
For season 1 Trek, all season 1 Trek is cursed. Well, almost all season 1 Trek.
You take Voyager's
for
name out
early, for early TNG, obviously we don't have our footing. It's a miracle the show even got picked up sometimes when you watch it. This was the John Delancey show. This was John Delancey eating every bit of the scenery he was in, like an audition tape, for please put me in something on Broadway. But if you're sitting there watching it back in 1987 when it aired in 88, you think it's really funny because it's something different than what's normally on TV, because your protagonists suddenly have no power. It's not a journey of where they're going next. They're stuck somewhere. They're stuck against weird things from our past.
Oh, so DS9 then.
Yes, it's a stationary show, but you're learning about the crew individually. It's kind of about Riker, and unfortunately about Geordi. He's a little problematic. HR is going to be getting some calls about women and him later in the future. It is what it is. I remember watching this for the first time when it was first on in the late 80s. And thinking, wow, this Q guy has appeared twice already in 9 episodes, and he keeps talking about humanity and humanity's part in the galaxy and their ultimate future. This is going to lead to something. And you wait 7 years for the finale where you're like, oh, we're finally going to learn. And he just, nope, sorry, you don't get to learn. And it's just one big tease. It's a 7-year-long tease, and it starts with this. And it's just, you know.
Yeah, but it doesn't even end after 7 years, because then obviously
No.
it continues into Picard and possibly further.
Okay, I mean, I feel like if they hadn't have done Picard season 2 and we just left on All Good Things, would you have felt a bit better about it there? Because that was kind of a good little sort of wrap up to the Q journey with, well, yeah, the trial never ends, but yeah.
Mm.
Been fine with it.
I'm
It was
fine
cool.
with
It was cool to see him back, but I would have been fine with it ending there. And he never popped up in any the 4 movies, so I thought they would have brought him in the movies at some point. But
Yeah, it's very defining for a lot of TNG's run is Q. Like, he is very much his and Picard's relationship with, like, because that's the one thing about this episode is, like, I remembered it slightly differently. I remember it being like the Riker, you know, giving him godhood to be more of a test. That's what I thought it was at the end. He was going to go, it was but a test. Humanity's passed another one, but he gets like whizzed back up to the Q continuum and like Rita Repulsa in the Power Rangers or something, like, or Team Rocket blasting their way into sky again. You know, he gets zapped up. But I remember it being much more of a test, which I think is kind of the implied meaning of the episode, that, you know, he can surpass the desires to keep being human, but maybe not. The one thing that got me about this episode was this was, you know, I think it was Shah, you mentioned, I was like, oh yes, we get it, you like Shakespeare, you know, there's a lot of references to Shakespeare in this episode, but it kind of worked. And I especially, and it's probably going to go in my best of moment, but it's like, you know, Picard and Q in the ready room, and he's kind of, you know, battle of odds with him with very, you know, it's a Shakespeare off, as, you know, he's quoting Hamlet, he's quoting Othello, and they're all going back and forth with the various, like, all the world's a stage, all the galaxy's a stage, and I thought that was quite cool. But yeah, it kind of got a little overdone, and it was a little bit more of a metaphor, and I wouldn't be surprised if our writers, you know, if Maurice Hurley was a bit of a Shakespeare buff, knowing that Picard, I can't remember if, like, previous in TNG, was Picard known to have been sort of Shakespeare orientated? Was he Shakespeare coded?
Maybe was that book always in his ready room? Like,
yeah, I don't know. I know there's like one of the first instances, like, oh, you're British, you must love Shakespeare. Well, you were in a Shakespearean play, we're going to play up to that. You know, why wouldn't you?
I remember in his autobiography, reading his autobiography, he mentioned how the producers wanted to bring that in because they knew that was a big part of Patrick Stewart, and how he's obviously so good at it and how he made his career. I don't remember that could be the first instance of Shakespeare brought into TNG.
This is the point of the production where he was still living out of a suitcase he had not even opened or unpacked, because he was convinced this was crap and he's going to go right back to Shakespeare. Yeah. He's like, hey, look, I've got an audition next week. Can y'all help me read for it? Yeah. And they said, we'll write that into an episode. That's all it was.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Yeah, he's looking for his next job already.
Yeah, it's just the first 50 soliloquies. That's all I'll need. Nothing more. Okay, I think it's time we went on to...
The best advice I can give you is to just be yourself.
You're the worst thing that ever happened to Zek. You're the worst thing that ever happened to me.
Actually, that's the second best piece of advice.
In fact, you're the worst thing that ever happened to the entire Ferengi Alliance.
No. No.
Just upset.
Oh no.
No.
Best and worst moments, please. Shai, do you want to kick us off? What are your best and worst moments of this episode?
I mean, I think the worst moment is Riker's fake laughing down on the alien green planet. For best moment, I do love me some indignant Picard. I also like when he sort of dismisses Riker's apology at the end, like, quite right, so you should, you know, feel like an idiot. But I'm going to throw to a very little moment right at the beginning. It's a thing I love in Star Trek and in all sci-fi. It's the easiest thing in the world, but directors forget it all the time. If you want some excitement to be happening on a ship, just have people running up and down the hallways carrying things. It's so simple. Just Like in Wrath of Khan, they're pulling up grates to get the torpedo tubes filled. They don't need to do that for a torpedo tube, but it looks great on the screen. Just have people being busy. It's simple ship action. It looks great. So I like that little touch at the top of the show.
Nice. Genos, best and worst.
Ooh, me.
You. Mixing up. I'm throwing
best
it all over the
moment.
place.
Best moment is the intermittent costume changes from John Delancey's Q 6 or 7 times. I love every single one of them, even the Starfleet Admiral uniform that we may or may not see ever again. I don't remember if that particular uniform ever
I think
comes
that's
back.
time.
With the Christmas tinsel running around the edge.
Yeah, and around the
Christmas
neck too.
Yeah.
Worst moment, and I'm surprised no one really mentioned this at all, is the missing Deanna Troi, because I'm interested to know what she would have done.
It's
during
kind
this
of the
episode, other
prime
than-
episode for her, really, isn't it? Like, you know, she's
Yeah.
the best person to talk to Will about how he's feeling and like how to go through things and like, you know, the sheer hubris of his actions. That's, yeah, you're kind of right on that.
Yeah, I would have liked to see how she would have fit into the episode. I don't know why she was gone. Did Memory Alpha say anything other than
No, it didn't
that
actually.
she
I just said she was not in this episode.
She
I don't
wasn't
think
there?
I mean, I'll have another look, but I didn't spot
Unavailable?
anything.
trying to save one actor's episode check and residuals or
They
something?
do
Who
that all
knows?
the time. They do that all the time in like old broadcast shows. They have episodes that don't have whole swaths of characters just to avoid paying them.
Yep. And then she was mentioned during the log, like, oh, we dropped her off on space station Mazda G6.
The only thing
Mazda G6.
Okay. The only thing Memory Alpha says that, you know, Deanna Troi does not appear in this episode. Her first non-appearance, the revised final draft screenplay submitted only 3 days prior to filming featured Deanna Troi, which suggested that Marina Sirtis' sudden unavailability was the reason for her non-appearance. So sounds like she was supposed to be in the episode, but something happened with her and she couldn't make it. So
Should have washed her hair.
Yeah,
She had a Twix commercial.
Oh, that's probably it. Yeah. So
it's very
that's mine.
important. I can make it in
Thank
Brie,
you.
I'm sure. You did both best and worst, didn't you?
I did.
You did. Frank.
I'm gonna steal but make different Genos's.
Which one?
Not just the uniform changes. I'm gonna give the best star, gold star of the day, to both the costume and production design department for this episode, because all of the costumes were just spot on. Delancey, of course, nailed it out of the park. But the little things of the sets that we saw, the very little sets, not the planet with the green screen, but the, you know, the impacted area with the medical crisis, and it has no roof on the build, so we get the cool above POV shot that you never see. Of course, they probably repurposed that set 9 times. It was probably in a motion picture, you know, original series movie. But it just, for the very limited amount of time that we were not on the green gaseous atmospheric planet, it looked nice. And it's also kind of nostalgic to see the old original Enterprise D bridge with the crappy wood paneling things on the side and just little areas that you're like, oh yeah, God, it did look like that.
Crappy. How dare you?
Dated. It's like you see a station wagon from 1988 driving around with the wood paneling on the sides. It's just like dated. And
Admiral Mark Jameson would like a word.
well, I kept thinking of his uniform when we said we never see this Admiral uniform again. I'm like, oh well, let me just pull up Google images of Jameson and all the different TNG admirals. There's a lot of one-off Admiral costumes. It took them to like season 3 before they hit it.
I wonder if each admiral is allowed to like design their own uniform or something.
Oh man, what a flex!
I wondered it'd be like a bishop or a pope or something in religion that they're like, yeah, I get to change my coat of arms a little bit or something to be a little unique.
The Admiral's flair.
Ooh.
Worst. I mean, I'm sorry if I steal it from you, Cranky, but sexual harassment, Geordi. I mean, we're just learning the character, and he takes off his visor, and all the kids are like, "Oh my God, it's Reading Rainbow Man!" And then the first thing he does with Vision, the first thing he does is he looks at the one female in the room. He's like, "Hey, baby."
His new eyeballs bulge out of his
Yes.
eyes.
Yes.
He goes, oh, God.
They just needed animators to do the Looney Tunes style. It's like, oh, come on.
Geordie has a type, female. Cranky, how about you? Best and worst moments. You are muted. Oh, you are silent. You are suddenly silent.
Oh no.
Oh no. Someone
Try
quick ADR him. Can't.
So
nope,
I
you're
think
gone.
this is really good.
Yeah. Oh, and he's gone. Hang on. Cranky will
My
be
worst
back.
moment is when we lost Cranky.
Yeah.
Am I back?
Ah, there you are.
I'm back. How weird. Yeah, so anyway, as I was saying, since I went last again, so everyone stole all the good and bad
Sorry,
points
I
about the
didn't realise
episode
that.
again.
I tried to rotate it properly, I failed immensely.
Professionalism.
So nobody took my best point. My best moment was Worf. Worf is fantastic in this episode. The way he leaps across the bridge from the security.
There's a lot of
the
good
way
Worf moments in this.
when he's attacking those aliens or running after the aliens and dodging around the rock. And that is just
Drop
beautiful.
all weapons!
Yes. Where did you come from, Worf? I didn't even see you over that small ridge.
He's at the third ridge already.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was definitely my best moment in that. Worst, I was going to say, is set and costume, but not because obviously Delancey Q was fantastic. The whole changing of the costumes was amazing. But the generic aliens, the generic let's take 8 costumes out of the costume department, put some beards and a weird nose on these people, and that's an alien, and then green planet.
Yeah. Very
Perfect.
TOS.
So, yeah, that's probably my worst moment in this episode.
I've convinced myself they were filming the movie Glory on the next soundstage because it was roughly the same year when they came out. They're like, "Hey, can we borrow some of your extras' uniforms?"
Yeah, it's literally something like that that's happened, isn't it? It's like, well, we've got 8 people. We need to put costumes that are all the same. What have we got? Yeah, that's my best and worst.
Like the Doctor Who, like tinfoil and bubble wrap era kind of. Oh, we need to make an EV suit. What have we got to hand? Oh, there it is. I'm gonna do. What's my worst moment? Okay, I think my worst moment is the needless stabbing Worf in the dick. Because just they didn't.
Both of them.
Which dick did they stab him in though?
Yeah, and the
It went through both.
You say Worf had some good moments. I think Worf had some very bad moments that I'm kind of ashamed that Stars isn't here. Because he had the like, this is sex. I'm like, oh my god, could you, Roddenberry, just step out the room for 2 seconds, please, and just stop self-inserting his own fantasies into every fucking episode? That would be really.
I want
good.
that line to be a trigger.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that should be a sub trigger. Yeah.
I need to have a little sort out of the sub trigger. So yeah, I'll try and put that one in there. Is this your idea of sex, Worf? No idea. So yeah, and you know, I think like, you know, them sort of doing the very sort of ham-fisted, but these alien people can't be overcome by a Klingon warrior, and then he gets stabbed and Wesley just runs in. Oh no, my favourite person, Worf, who I've had no affiliation to before. I'm just gonna run over to his corpse and just kind of go like, no, buddy, you were teaching me Mokbara. How could you? And then get stabbed as well, and does the shoe thing. So like. Yeah, that was probably my worst moments. Is like, this could have been like blocked and thought about a little bit more, but I appreciate you probably had like one more day of shooting before you had to go and work on the next episode, so fine. Best moment is, what a piece of work is man, how noble in reason, how infinite in faculties, in form and moving, how express, an admiral in action, how like an angel in apprehension, how like a god. And I think we've ragged on the Shakespeare link to it enough, but I do like that very specific part from Hamlet was referenced into Riker's conundrum, and I do think the whole conundrum itself was very, very good, but I'll talk more about that when we go on to our
I can show you my rating code.
Schiller rating 3.5. Associational rating norm -3. That's much too low a rating.
I'm just not accustomed to seeing an unsatisfactory rating on a member of my crew.
Unsurprisingly, I'm actually not going to give this an unsatisfactory rating, but we need to come up with a rating criteria first. We've had a couple of ideas, but I don't know if you guys have got any suggestions through. We've had vicious animal things. We've had leaping dwarfs. We've had the how many Q costume changes.
How many stabs in the dick?
I think Warp dick stab.
Warp
But you know, it's like
Warp dick stabs.
the thing is, like, now that we know, was it just one? They just stabbed him in one.
Oh,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
true.
so he's a Klingon. He's
the
got a
left
backup.
or the right?
Yeah, he's got the. Yeah, you never know.
Okay, how about Worf left dick stabs?
Warp's a leaping. Yeah.
I think we found it. Okay, gentlemen, how many Worf left dick stabs out of 10? I'm going to go first. I'm going to go uncharacteristically. Too right, it's my show. I'm gonna surprise myself because I remember this worse than it was. I think I rated, you guys talked me up to a 6. I'm gonna go for a 7.5. I thoroughly enjoyed myself with this episode. I wouldn't say it's absolutely perfect because it still has the trappings of early TNG. Johnny's in the costume department, a few statements which haven't aged well over the test of time, and a morality play which could have been played a little bit better. But the overall, the idea of what is man, what defines you as man, and like how they treat it with Riker, not Picard, because I think the original intention was they were going to do it with Picard as the character, but no, they ended up doing it with Riker, which I think was the better choice. And testing him with his crew and his devotion to his crew, even though they'd barely known him, they'd known him of like 8 weeks at that point. Just have this sort of crisis of faith and crisis of humanity, and another example of humanity's ability to reason and have, hey, we've got a doggy, reason to be able to work out where they fit in the universe and what is right. Even like Wesley saying it, like, oh no, I've lost 10 years here, and Geordie's saying no, not like this to his blindness. So I was a lot more impressed with this episode than I thought. So it's up there for me. So 7.5 Worf left dick stabs for me. Cranky, how about you?
Well, my pre-rating was 6 on this, and I also am going to raise my rating after watching, especially based on the fact that this is season 1, and it is such a good, fun episode. Like you say, it has still got the trappings of season 1, but it's definitely one of the best episodes of that season, and mainly John Delancey makes that happen. But yeah, I think I'm going to go for, let's go 7.34.
What?
Oh, we're getting granular here. This is like some refined.
I don't knock down the door.
7.34. What? Sorry.
Idle knock down the door by not doing a full number.
Stabs out of 10.
Very nice. Go on, Genos. You're eager to jump in there with your. You're eager to leap over the shell of the bridge to deliver your Klingon insults here.
Yes. I also enjoyed it more than I thought, and I thought I would enjoy it quite a bit. I think I was a 6.5 or something. I'm going to go to 7 3/4. Worf left dick stabs.
7.75. Okay, yeah, right.
Out of 10. Lots of fun. Bring John Delancey back at least once a season if possible. 2 in 1 season is pretty solid. Does he come back again season 1 or the next time?
I don't think we see him till Q-Who, which is season 2.
Yeah, because Guinan's in that one, and she's season 2 at least. So yeah, 7 3/4.
So, go Frank.
My pre-rating was a, 5. And, I just...
I the fact that we can't actually see the cards.
Oh, great. Frank Dini, what do you see?
I've done my thinking. And gentlemen,
this is going to play so well for the podcast.
I give.
Frank is now holding up cards.
Podcast.
Future Jedis are going to be so confused.
The episode
Not
Q.
Yeah.
Hide and Q
Got it.
of season 1, episode
11.
Season 8.
9.
Wow.
I give this episode 6.5
Bravo.
stabbings
Well done.
out of 10.
This is a talent that I didn't know that you had, and I don't think we deserve it.
Purely only.
We don't
Oh,
deserve it.
Please,
As in,
please,
what
we don't
got?
deserve it, please.
It will never be seen again. I'm sorry. I am immediately retiring this bit.
6.5. Okay, finish us off, Shy.
All right, I started at a 6. At the beginning of this review, I was like, "Oh, I'm going to bump up to a 7." But as we were talking about it, I was thinking, "There's nothing really wrong with this episode. It's pretty entertaining, start to finish. There's some great little like camera work. I love the shot of Picard in the old school bridge, just alone there. You get some really good bridge porn. You get to really see how much they've changed this show design from TOS. They really went for it with the new bridge, and it's beautiful to look at." So I'm going to go up to an 8 because that's 8 Worf left dick stabs. It's his left, our right.
Yeah, stage left. Stage right, sorry.
Yeah. Worf left. Yeah, it's a very enjoyable epising. It sets up the rest of the series. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Stewart's really like easing into his role here. He's starting to have fun. It's nice.
Well, that brings this episode's final score to a 7.42, or for those of us that can't handle that many decimal places, 7.4. I just want to see what the full one would be. 7.418 would be the full one, or if you're rounding down, just a pure 7. But 7.4. Worf left dick stabs out of 10. Yeah, 7.41843211576. I'm sure that's in there somewhere. I am pleasantly surprised how better this episode, how good this episode actually was, because I was expecting a lot less for TNG. For TNG season 1, we finally found the good episode. We rated it up there with the Infinite Vulcan, with Memento Mori, the Serene Squall. It's up there with some of the good Strange New Worlds episodes, which is it's nice to actually see. Like you say, Shy, there's something redeemable about some of the season 1 TNG episodes. And as Frank signs away all his money through the last card tricks of the night, we will be back. If you're watching live on stream, adieu. And if you're on the YouTubes, we'll see you in a couple of weeks for our next episode. Stay tuned on the channel. We'll be doing all sorts of fun things, playing games and all that stuff. Like and subscribe. Most importantly, thank you all you guys for coming and doing some more Treks with us. It's been great fun to have our wonderful guests, Cranky and Jenos, and for the rest of you, thank you very much. We're eagerly awaiting to hear if Shai has been signed up for the role of Khan in the Texas version of Khan the Musical. But
no, sadly, local actors only.
Local actors
only.
You're only not local because you don't live there yet.
That's true.
That's right.
If only you could stay with. And if only you could stay with someone that lived in the Texas local region. Wow. Surely we don't know any 1 or 2 people that live there. But we will be back.
Stay on
please.
my couch.
Yes. But please join us next time. We will see you later. Live long and prosper. And